Greetings, what's good, family? I just wanted to address a few things that are going on right now. One in particular, for the past few months, there's actually been folks suggesting that we as Africatown are blocking support for a lot of different things. And on one end, that could possibly be true. However, concerning this issue with the marketplace, the vendors that are out there, if the council district had any real intentions on supporting, they could have stepped in way before we even stepped in, way back when folks were complaining about trash, folks were complaining about a number of different issues. We as people in the community stepped in, stepped up to try to help resolve things. And from that time, way back in January till now, the beginning of September, the council office has had more than enough time. What's up, little ones? I see y'all shouting each other out. That's right. The council office has had more than enough time to step in and do what it needs to do to support. I think the first we heard about people suggesting that more support can happen where folks not associating with Africatown was probably around the time of Juneteenth when different entities got involved claiming they were close with Ridley Thomas, this, that, and the other. Around the same time when we were really talking and working with people that were interested in doing recalls, both of Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas and Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson, but numerous reasons. At that point in time, because what is going on in Africatown has been pretty much consuming a lot of what we do. That was the primary thing we were pushing. But in Africatown, in addition to the vending situation, is the homeless crisis. Past several years, at one point we saw 50 people living in the park there. Past several years, we've seen numerous people die out there on the sidewalks, in the parking lot. Again, primarily because they were not receiving the assistance that they needed and assistance that the city could very easily give, which we've seen them step up and do when they choose to do it. County also. But just going back to this initial point, this is a strategy to try to divide and conquer. We as Africatown have been very effective for the past several years, both in finding ways to support from the people's end, organizing different ways we can help each other, but at the same time highlighting, exposing, and advocating for government and other entities, corporations, whatnot, to step in and do what is needed. So again, for the past several months, it's really been emphasized that we are the problem and we're the reason why folks don't want to fund things again. This crisis began way before our coalition even came together. A lot of us are from the area, so we have been doing different types of work. And for a number of years, we were primarily focused on the crisis with the police terrorism, the murders and all of that. So it wasn't until we formed the coalition in 2016 that we really began to reach into all these different areas: gentrification, homelessness, the need to support black businesses, the prison pipeline, and other things. So again, this is simply a strategy to try to turn people against us. And we see, Mark Ridley Thomas most definitely practices nepotism, basically giving support to a small group of people who he favors, he's in association with. Because from the time this market began till now, we've seen, one-day events like Juneteenth, the Jazz Festival that just took place, receive large amounts of funding. We see other farmers markets like the ones ran by CLA. They run the Crenshaw Farmers Market. They receive gross amounts of funding to help them operate and keep their markets going. So again, right here in his hometown, where he claims, in his community that he claims he's trying to, help and rebuild and lift up, he has shown in numerous ways to neglect this area. So we appreciate the people who see past this little pathetic strategy to turn people against us. Very similar to what the police used to try to use when we would get out and fight for people. Sometimes they would tell people, we'll let y'all go if y'all go over there and tell these Africatown dudes to get up out of here. And a few times youngsters told them, no, we want them here to make sure y'all don't do shit to us. And again, that's basically the situation that is happening. What are y'all trying to do? I will get to that question in 1 second. But basically, that's what they're trying to do right here. Use the people to demand we get out the picture so they could more easily run out their agenda. We have been able to see through the false narratives they put forward. We've been able to see through these performative acts that they do of come out, taking photo ops, doing this, that, and the other. And we've been able to identify where they have neglected to invest in true sustainable areas to help our community move forward. So for those of y'all just joining, I'm just addressing first and foremost this strategy that's been going around recently of different entities getting in the ears of people suggesting that we, the Africatown Coalition, is why the council office and others are not supporting what's happening. Because again, if these entities truly were concerned about what's happening, they would invest directly in that. And just to more specifically break down what I'm saying, like with the homeless situation, they were left out there for years. So yeah, once we got involved with that, we pissed a lot of people off, and a lot of people try to suggest then, the brothers and sisters that were living in the park were being neglected because of how we were coming at people in these meetings talking the bullshit. But again, it really showed their the word slipping my mind right now, but how petty they were, if that was the case, to not prioritize the need for human beings that were living in the park. So same thing with this situation. But just to more thoroughly break down our relations to what is going on with the African marketplace and drum circle in and of itself. This is something that we as Africatown, LA Legal Assistance, the Leimert Park Village vendors, none of us created this situation. From my knowledge, it goes back to the 90s, and other folks have broken down a detailed version of how at different time periods there were different forms of the marketplace taking place. But I know from what it has gotten to today, from what I saw, start with just a few drummers out there. Always messed the brother name up, but I believe his brother in Gite, who actually began the actual drum circle, and then gradually from that, different vendors would come and add to it in different ways. And it got to the early 2000s to where a number of vendors started coming out, and it took form in the park. So we basically at different times have participated in it as vendors, but usually we just used it as an opportunity to connect with the community that came out there, whether we were exchanging information, whether we were asking people to come out to different actions we would have the following week, or whether we use it as a means for fundraising to support what we were doing. So fast forward to this year, when the numerous attacks began against the number of vendors out there, we again stepped up, and I even have to back up. After Juneteenth 2020, when the explosion of vendors began to come, and then a few months later, September 2020, when the alfresco thing happened and the beers went out and numerous vendors were showing up, our brother Kevin, he started talking to a lot of the vendors out there, basically to first and foremost identify a lot of the new faces that were showing up, but to also figure out ways to help them work out conflicts they were having, whether it was about space or people selling the same products, and then different merchants and vendors issues, and then all types of stuff. But then coming into the beginning of this year, when a number of different enforcement agencies started coming out, we collectively, along with LA Legal Assistance, began to identify ways to help the vendors. LA Legal Assistance held a number of clinics where they got the vendors their permits, licenses. We went out, talked to people, encouraged them to go to these clinics, identify what people needed what. And then it got to the situation of where talks of a farmer's market permit was going out to take control of the streets. So again, working with LA Legal Assistance, working with the new formed Leimert Park Village Vendors Association, we collectively decided to go ahead and take on the responsibility of restructuring the market to bring it into compliance with all these newfound city regulations. And saying all this to say, because right now, because of a couple posts I've made over the past couple of days, there was a phone call made to LA Legal Assistance, basically questioning whether or not they were in support of the post that we made, and straight out, no, they were not. They weren't even informed that the post was going to be made. None of the vendors were informed that that post was going to be made, and others involved in the overall marketplace staff were not informed that post was going to be made. That post was made from the position of the Africatown Coalition. And if the last post is actually read in detail, it goes into breaking down that what we're dealing with at the marketplace is just a small part of our overall political agenda. Like I was saying earlier, we fell back on a lot of the overall organizing we've been doing throughout the city to really focus on this issue that was brought to our front door. And we have been wanting to get more involved in other things that were happening, like with Downtown Crenshaw and their fight for the Crenshaw Mall, which we fully support. Black Lives Matter and their continued effort to end police associations, to defund the police, the social equity movement, our brothers and sisters on Skid Row, and other things that are happening, and a number of issues with gentrification overall. So again, saying all this to say that nothing we as Africatown Coalition do is to be put on anyone else. We as the coalition pretty much bring in people who are committed to similar principles that prioritize our people over anything else. We're not capitalists. We know we're living in a capitalistic society, and that we must, to the best of our ability, use financial tools to build and advance what we're doing. But in no shape or form do we prioritize anything over our people, women, children, community, whatever. And that position has left us to where we don't compromise. We don't bite our tongues in speaking truth. We don't bite our tongues in calling out the bullshit. We don't bite our tongues in calling out ourselves and each other. So by no means, with this supposed newfound partnership that folks thought we had with Martin Ridley Thomas, were we going to fall back and allow any of the things that we have been calling out for a number of years that we have seen come from his policies and how they affect Black LA in a negative way? I hope it was never expected that we were going to fall back on any of that, because right now Black LA, like Black America, and even Black folks globally, are in a crisis, are in a manufactured crisis. And in LA, we find these policies are being executed by Black political figures. So Again, just saying all this to say our relationship with LA Legal System, the Leimert Park Village vendors, and even the marketplace is to step up and try to move forward a long-standing institution that has brought the entire world to our community. The same way folks come to LA and they want to go to, man, love and respect to all of y'all. Thank you. The same way folks from all around the world come to LA and want to go to Hollywood, Venice Beach, and all these other places, they now want to come to Africa Town. And we know some people still refer to it, as that racist ass devil's name, but that's something our consciousness will not allow us to do. But that's been our position in supporting the vendors out there, supporting this marketplace. Our support has been in the form of fundraising. To this point, we have had to raise almost $100,000 to make this market run. And again, considering many of us in our coalition are homeless, that we have been raising funds that are basically being turned back over either to city entities or to entities that the city are requiring us to have to function. $100,000 in from April till now, this is like 4.5 months. $100,000 in 4.5 months. Come on now. And I guess we were expected to just keep raising all this damn money and not fuss, complain, or nothing, and just see when the council officer, whoever, was going to step up and do their part to support all of this. Again, remove Africa Town Coalition from the equation. The marketplace weekly has almost 100 vendors out there. Many of them are going through their own financial, economic hardships. So we know a lot of folks are talking about the sustainability of this market. But again, the reality is, because trying to read y'all comments in the meantime, I will most definitely try to get through that. Just trying to get what I needed to get out first. But we know a lot of people out there are in need. And we're not just talking about these stimulus checks that come every 6 damn months. $1,200 every 6 months. That's what? $200 a month. What the hell is that? That's like GR. Just don't do shit. Help people feel good for a couple days, couple weeks. But folks out here, many of them have been pushed out the workplace. Some of them are beginning entrepreneurs who need more support. But we have been doing what the council office and all these other folks should have been doing. Again, brothers who are homeless, raising $100,000 in 4.5 months to put into supporting our community. Another area of support is just been overall organizing, communicating between the different vendors, communicating between the different merchants, getting input from the community, and trying to bring all that together to structure it into a better, so-called better environment, considering all the complaints that have been happening. One of the major ones was the traffic, and folks that come now can see much of the traffic's no longer out there. Another major complaint has been the trash, and that is something we have organized to come out of our pockets to take care of. Again, another responsibility of the city. And again, where the city years ago pulled back sanitation and created these BIDs, Business Improvement District programs. And we know in Africa Town, because of the misleadership of Robert Saucedo, it was frozen. We have stepped up not only on Sundays, but you can come pretty much 7 days a week and you'll see brothers out there pushing the little cart that we bought, taking care of the trash, and they're being paid by us. Again, we're not getting no major funding from anybody, but pretty much every area we've seen, both in the Africa Town community and throughout Los Angeles, the city and the county, we have been helping black folks do all we can to maintain our communities and maintain ourselves. Another area, security, to the best of our ability, using brothers from the community and sisters from the community to regulate ourselves. And again, I stay away from that word policing, because that's what everybody always want to say. We need to police ourselves. Fuck that. We need to be family, and that's how we really initiate it. And we know when outsiders come or provocateurs are sent in to initiate some suspect shit. But for the most part, when it's issues we have amongst ourselves, we've been able to resolve without any major escalation. Tony, you got to show up, brother. You know what's up on a security job. Show up, black man. Stop it. But yeah, so these are the many different roles we have been playing in this market because of the void, because of the lack of support. So again, for the council officers then say they're not supporting because we're involved with it, is bullshit. We wouldn't be involved with it had the council office took the damn initiative they self to do what they supposed to do. That's why we're involved in it. So now, 9 months later, to try to, play these mind games on people to make it seem like we're the problem when we've been the major support, man, stop that shit. All right, that's why the post was fucking made, because we're getting sick of these fucking games, because black people are dying. Black folks are dying. If you look at my posts for the past several months, you will see how many folks close to me have passed throughout pretty much this whole damn entire year. From G-Bone to T. Rogers, CJ, Brother Richard, many great people I have met over the years who I've seen do a whole lot of work have been passing, and G-Bone's the only person I personally know that made this transition, and what we're being told was related to this whole COVID thing. But outside of that, it's just the same shit many black folks are succumbing to. A fucked up environment. Even shit that's called folks dying of natural causes, as Dr. Sebi pointed out, a lot of that shit is not so natural. But saying that to say, I, like many brothers and sisters in the coalition, are in pain. And part of our healing is alleviating the pain our people are going through. So the best way for the council office to get us not as involved in what's going on out there is for them to step up and do what they're supposed to do. Again, you're dealing with an extremely conscious community that can see past a lot of these bullshit games. And again, when we say a recall, it's not something that we just thought of. Folks been talking about recalling Marquise for a minute. The recall against Marquise was initiated, almost 2 years ago? And folks are moving slow in progress with that. But that's where it's getting now, as a lot of people clearly see, the devastation, the degradation that we're dealing with is strictly through policies and, unfortunately, black misleadership. So, that's our relationship to the market now, concerning Mark Ridley Thomas in specific. Anything that I've posted claiming to be fact-based, disprove it. One of the things I initiated was saying that the population in Los Angeles the black population in Los Angeles has pretty much been cut in half since Mark Ridley Thomas has been in leadership. The numbers don't lie. That can be looked up. What was the black population in LA back then? What's the black population now? The condition of the black population in LA back then compared to now is clear. We make up one of the smallest percentage of people, but we make up the largest percentage of homelessness. We make up the largest percentage of everything fucked up in this city right now. And again, it all goes to policy. The point I made about Mark Ridley Thomas' support basically of the Clinton crime bill, which in California manifested as the California 3 Strikes Law. It manifested as gang injunctions. It manifested as the war on drugs. Identify what was Mark Ridley Thomas' position with all those policies for all those years. It's not just all these years later after the population's been cut in half. You know, the talk they put forward about the steps they want to take to rectify that shit. You know, it didn't take a whole lot of talks back in the 90s to put that shit in motion. There were a few talks just like with this 41.18 ordinance. It didn't take a whole lot to make that shit happen. It was brought up in a few council meetings and then boom, this shit went into motion, and now this Friday, tomorrow, is going to go into effect. You know, that was another reason why the post was made when I said time's up. Because we've waited from, what was that, June 18th, we sat down with the council member, and, you know, we weren't too, you know, whatever with the things that were said, because nothing concrete was said. You know, 5 days later, we did receive the permit, or excuse me, LA legal assistant received the permit, and that was a sign of possible moving things forward. But again, with the major issue being at that point, the need for a financial transaction, that here we are 2.5 months later after that initial meeting, and nothing is happening. Again, every damn week we're having to come up with $6,000 fucking dollars. We're paying 2 mortgages every damn week. Come on, man, stop bullshit. And again, we see you know, the Jazz Festival. You looked out for that. The Juneteenth, looked out for that. And these are one-day events. And here we have an entire community of people who really depend on this marketplace in a number of ways, because in addition to the jobs we created to compensate people to get out there and clean up, to compensate people to assist with the setup and breakdown, to compensate people to walk these damn cars in and out, to compensate people to walk around and deal with conflicts all damn day. We're talking from 6:30 in the morning till 7 in the evening, and the little punk ass stipend we're giving folks ain't shit. But again, within the time we've started this, we've seen $100,000 was given the second call. And I don't say that, you know, saying that we have any issue whatsoever with second call. We are grateful. The brothers and sisters involved with that program were able to receive that support. But again, that's work we've been doing. So that was one of many slaps to our face, and basically telling us, fuck you. You know, compensating other people to do what we've been doing. The situation with this whole cleaning shit. Reaching the outsiders to step in and come take care of the cleaning in the village. And again, you got brothers who have been consistent in doing this shit, coming out of our own pockets. But you choose to overlook us. And we've gone to the point to where, you know, we pretty much like, fuck it, you know, whatever. Because we're not going to back down in holding officials accountable. We're not going to back down in exposing the bullshit. We're going to continue to reach out to the many great people, the plethora of great people in the community who are stepping up to support, the people who understand what time it is and that we must invest in ourselves first and foremost. So, you know, here forward, if a decision is made to never fuck with Africa Town, never give Africa Town a motherfucking penny, that's not the point. The point is black lives are being lost right now. Black people are going through hardship right now. So the more y'all fail to do, we're going to step up and do. And y'all don't like how we step up and do it, what we say in the meantime, between time that we identify what y'all aren't doing. The most common sensible thing would be to step up and do what y'all supposed to do, period. You know, stop playing this fucking game with people's lives and then you want to trot the fuck around like you doing some shit. Man, I mean, this is some bullshit. This is some straight fucking bull. This is the shit that has created French Revolution. This is the shit that's created Haitian revolutions. And what we're doing and saying is nothing outside of the norm. All it is, butt licking, boot licking, all of that shit is outside of the norm. It's just like Chris Rock said about the damn tiger in the circus. You know, the damn tiger in the circus, he was acting strange and weird when he was doing all them damn tricks. When he started biting the motherfucking trainer in his ass, that's when the tiger was acting very natural, very normal. And that's where we as Africa Town Coalition, in addition to other people throughout the city who are getting sick of this shit, it's like, what the fuck do y'all expect? Y'all get mad when people call in to these council meetings and put fire on your ass because of conditions y'all created. That's fucking insanity. That's insane. The definition of insanity is to do the same shit and expect a different outcome. So y'all really expect to do all of this bullshit and have people say nothing, have people call in and talk polite, have people be happy and excited to see you motherfuckers who are destroying their lives? Stop it. And again, stop trying to put pressure on other people because y'all got my fucking number. Y'all got my email. You know, that was another thing that led to those posts, because over the past several weeks, as we've been trying to call this, that, and the other, y'all have refused to respond to me directly. Even last week with the email exchange, at one point, I stepped up and I made a very direct email. So instead of responding to me the very next day, the councilman made a direct phone call to somebody else to address an email I sent. So yeah, if folks talking about thought we had a damn partnership going, that's not partnership type shit. When you evade direct communication, when you evade direct support, and we have expressed since June how straining it is for us to get out and raise this fucking money every damn week, especially for shit that's not being demanded of other special events and farmers markets. Ain't no other farmer market we done been to required to have an EMT on site. You know, that's $600 a week. And fortunately, we were able to find or possibly, we believe, the only black-owned EMT in the state of California that we're giving that money to. That's the only promising part about that shit. Because otherwise, that would be a very, some undisturbing shit. You know, this shit, since this shit started, I've probably slept 2 hours a night. You know, figuring how we going to raise these funds, figuring how we going to resolve the many different issues, figuring a whole bunch of shit. You know, initially we were told we had to have a whole damn SWAT team of security guards out there. Now we get in writing, we only need half of that shit. So we've been paying all this extra money for months. You know, so again, all these damn games that are being played, we can't do this shit no more. You know, it's either going to be the councilman is going to step up and start reversing the curse he's been unleashing since the early 90s, or we're going to drive this recall forward, period. And that's not to be put on nobody else. The vending association ain't signed on with the recall yet. The marketplace as an entity, we wouldn't even expect the marketplace to sign on. LA Legal Assistant hasn't signed on with the recall. You know, we're working on the recall with the other obvious characters who you already identified. So again, trying to call somebody we're working with, we're supporting, we're helping to bring a service to the community as a low-key threat just again shows how fucking pathetic y'all are. And it just makes us more determined to push this recall and any and all other necessary measures forward. So, you know, kill that shit, or we just gonna go harder. That's how we do it. Go harder. And just lastly, to address tomorrow, this new ordinance is going into effect that Martin Ridley Thomas presented. Ordinance 41.18. I encourage everybody to look this up, because again, as they're trying to say this is some shit to help the homeless, it's basically going to further criminalize homeless people. Is going to further restrict where brothers and sisters can sleep, and that will create another situation similar to how we had in the village when they started pressing this new structure on us to form this marketplace, because part of that meant less space for vendors to set up. So where we probably had more than 100 people coming out setting up during our community market, now with this new compliance market, we have less people, and that initially started squabbles between people over space, and it's put a strain on us by people who used to come out there who can't come out there right now, because by these new regulations, we can only have so many people out there. So that's part of what this new sidewalk ordinance is about to do. Create more restrictions on that. But in addition to the homeless, as a lot of people have identified, it may also present hardships for folks who are street vending, because it very clearly states people's possessions or belongings not being allowed to be out there on the sidewalk. So, we really encourage people to find out. We appreciate you, Sister Coco Lisses, Sister Tanisha. We appreciate y'all. But we encourage everybody to look that up because that shit goes into effect tomorrow. And it's just one more of many moves to further enact a police state upon us. We know in the next few weeks they will also be rolling out these new vaccine mandates. And they're saying, first they're starting with state, county, city workers, but they also mentioned it's going to affect restaurants and bars, and we know a lot of that shit will be test pilots to see how that goes, and very likely it will expand into other areas, further restricting people's access to shit they need. We clearly see we have been forced into a food desert. 2 major stores, Rouse on Obama, Crenshaw and Obama's gone, and then the Rouse on Crenshaw and Slauson gone. We're being told the only supermarket right there in the area right now is Albertsons, and we're being told that may temporarily shut down. So it's like, what the fuck? All of these hardships again are very intentional, and it's leading to black folks being pushed out. It's leading to black folks carrying out violent, hostile actions against each other because of the frustration this shit produces, because of the hardship and the pressure it puts on families, providers to produce. So again, we know these things aren't things that just happen. These things are thought out over periods of time. And again, unfortunately, because folks like Marquise, Curran, Mark Ridley Thomas, and others, Irv Wesson, have failed to take in the interests, consider the actual people in their communities, we see clearly they are in allegiance with these corporate agendas. So that's where we really stand on all the above. Real quick, I'm gonna go see if I can pull up and go through some of these questions y'all left. Damn, woo-wee, I didn't know y'all leaving all these comments. Gracious goodness, I might not be able to get to all of this. Okay, most of y'all just saying what's up, Devo, what's up, Tara, what's up, Jordana, everybody else. Marquezy getting another office on Crenshaw. Okay, Amari, what's up? Peace to you. Pan-African Report was good, bro. Khalid was good. Asali Grace was happening. What are y'all trying to do? Okay, that's the first question asked by Asali Grace. What are we trying to do? Basically, for the past several months, we have been working in the community to stop basically the shutdown of one of the last thriving functions and areas, because we know the vendors, the Sunday marketplace are staples in the community that help to hold down the community. What you see Monday through Friday is nowhere near what you see happening on the weekends there. We have been trying to encourage and find ways to help the merchants tap into the additional foot traffic that comes on the weekends. But basically, what we're trying to do is get the council office, county supervisors, and everybody else to step up and do their part, not just in Africatown, but throughout the city, to help not just sustain black folks, but to revitalize black communities, to make necessary investment, not these little punk ass stimulus, this and that, and other bullshit they pass it out. But I'm talking about some real concrete investments, deep into them same coffers as they've been doing for this whole COVID shit, and really help black folks. Some of the another comment question: some of these white gentrifiers do not want to see blacks unity and for black farmers to not sell healthy food. That's most definitely right. Hey, fist pound pump, fist raised back to you, Jordana. Respectable Negroes do run them up. Okay. Trying to go through it, getting through it. Getting through it. Basically, a bunch of comments. Respect back to y'all. They are afraid of black unity as always. That's always been their goal, y'all, to keep us disunified. This person says it's been major complaints against a lot of people that want to help the Leimert Park Minnesotans but feel inferior to the women you have wielding the paperwork. Okay, why that would be, I'm responding to this comment by Black and Mild. You know, people that are out there, people that come to our meetings see Jen is nothing but a wonderful blessing that has stepped in to help the community. You know, she does have her ways, and when people get to know her, they know it's nothing but love that has driven her to do this. Again, she's not getting paid to do this shit. This is some work, volunteer work. She's committed for 9 months now to help the community. And because we get attacked from multiple angles, we are fighting the council office and other folks who should be helping that are not helping because different people have gotten misinformation and taken this whole situation out on us. It has created a very tense situation, but a number of those complaints, if they were communicated and a response was able to be given to them, you will find a lot of those complaints are not valid. You know, a lot of issues came towards us and against Sister Jen because initially cars were being told they could no longer park out there. The restructuring of how many vendors could be out there was another issue a lot of folks took up with us. But again, that was not something we created. I mean, this whole situation was not something we thought of. It was a curveball that was thrown at us. And we came together and began to figure out how we could help the community respond to this. So this second part, folks that want to help but feel inferior to the women that are wielding the paperwork. And again, you know, I wish, you know, you could be more specific in that, because why anybody would feel inferior just makes absolutely no sense. Again, a lot of times some of the frustrations that do come out are by people constantly suggesting what all or what in addition we need to do, not really taking into account what all we are doing. And again, that there is no salary provided for us to do this shit. You know, after I get off of this, I'm gonna have to get on, you know, asking for funds for this Sunday, to execute this Sunday. So again, this shit has been nonstop for us. So again, I really would invite folks to come to our Sunday morning meetings or get on our Zoom meetings so y'all can get better familiar with our sister or with us and know that it's nothing, you know, we're not coming down as the Gestapo or any shit like that. We have repeatedly stated the whole purpose of us obtaining and getting control of the permit is so other folks who we were told at the time were interested in getting it would not come and quickly change the demographics of the market, because we know other folks would have immediately imposed high-ass fees on vendors to set up, which again, we understand the all-around economic conditions of a lot of the people out there. We have come to learn a lot of folks and their needs better over the past several months. We know some of the folks who are out there who just still refuse to give into this new structure that has been imposed on us. Some of us understand that. Some folks are trying to get them to you know, just look at supporting what we're trying to do. But a lot of this is better explained when people attend more regular meetings. Another comment by Black and Mild. And then when I ask to join and offer help, it's a waiting game. I don't understand how that's family. Again, what's going on with your specific situation, I don't know. I don't really identify you by the name Black and Mild. If you want to leave your actual name in the comment, that way I could better know. But again, the same way everybody else is joined is open to you. That's something we have repeatedly made. You know, again, with 100 active vendors and another almost 150 vendors on the waiting list, we have done an exceptional job communicating to people. We as Africatown walk around all day on Sundays and even throughout the week, because some of our vendors on Sundays are there throughout the week. So we make a lot of direct communication with the vendors out there and ways they can be incorporated to helping. We've had a lot of one-on-one conversations with people. But again, the Sunday morning meetings, the meetings that have been rescheduled to Monday nights are open. So why your specific situation and you haven't been able to join or to bring forward help, I don't really know, but hit us up and we'll work it out to the best of our ability. A third comment by Black and Mild. So why not let everyone that wants to help join the association without a waiting game? There is no waiting game to join the association. Right now, there aren't even membership fees. The association is still being structured. There's actually going to be a elections for actual officers coming up soon. So the association, again, all this is new. All this is being structured, and to this point, it's primarily been really spearheaded by two people, and then a support group, a very powerful, excellent support group of maybe 3, 4, 5 other people have really taken on the responsibility of reading through all the different policies and regulations that have been forced on us. The sisters have done an excellent job in filing for all these permits. We've been required to get, I believe it's 6 different permits: city permits, county permits, state permits, health permits. Folks have been having to pay for gas, driving to different cities to register, to do all this different shit. And then folks want to say why we haven't been able to accommodate their individual whatever. Whoever you are, you're obviously dropping the ball, because other folks have been able to capitalize on the information we put out. And again, it's shit like that pisses me off when people are so wrapped up in their damn self that they can't see the bigger picture and all the fucking work we're doing to make this shit happen. It's clearly something you're not doing to make that next step possible. Because if all these other people have been able to join, if all these other people have been able to get on the meetings, it's clearly something you're not doing to move forward with the information we put out there. So please don't try to come on here trolling with that shit, especially if you're not going to reveal your true identity. Knock that shit off. No, the woman they have wielding the paperwork under Leimert Park started off helping us get our licenses and now have the power to pick and choose who wants to help their own community. See, again, you're talking some bullshit right now. That's the shit I say that gets us pissed off. And again, we're human beings. I guess folks figure because we stepped up and did all this shit, we're supposed to have some, I guess they expect us to be like the fucking council people, emotionless and just sit there and, no, we have repeatedly put out, and we've made this easy we got people who are almost technologically illiterate on Zoom meetings now. People have been, our sister Miranda X has been walking up and down, getting people familiar with the different ways they can join the Zooms and websites, and she's used these tiny URLs and everything possible to simplify this. So again, for you to come on this post now, trolling, talking this shit, you showing your ass, because there are other vendors on here who are part of the association who are able to utilize the information we put out. So knock it off. If you reveal who you are so we can make this shit happen. If you're not just trolling, if you really about it, make that shit happen. What up, Veronica? We appreciate you. I say Gavin Newsom is the reason why homelessness is rising. Yes, most definitely on the state level. He's a huge part of it, but this shit started way before West Africatown position on Gavin Newsom recall. So I can't say what the Africatown coalition's position is as a coalition. We have had conversations, but we basically feel there is no real option for us. Gavin Newsom ain't really done shit for us. He's done some performative last minute shit to save his ass, but all in all, as far as moving reparations for it to the extent it needs to, as far as providing black communities similar assistance that they have now come out and found all of a sudden to help with this COVID, to intervene in the genocide by cop that is taking place. You know, Gavin Newsom has failed us. We clearly see Larry Elder will be a much greater threat. You know, a Negro like that getting off, he most definitely gonna show his ass to please massa and do every damnable thing he can to the black folks to get that bone from massa. So we know Larry Elder would very likely be a worse option than Gavin Newsom. A lot of these other rednecks we see running and other folks, we just, from the conversations we've had, we see no option for us. But I can't say what our position as a coalition is on the actual recall. We have met and talked with a young sister. I don't want to mix her name up, but I think her name is Adalfria, but she has a Instagram page. But she is a young black woman running for governor. I believe she's from the area. Her main platform is to address the police terrorism. Her and her children were actually victims of police terrorism, so that is her primary focus. She is very in tune with the homeless issue. We just haven't really sat down and found out, you know, the extent of her experience and her overall platform. But there is a black woman running, y'all. So as we get more information on her, we will try to get that out. You said Mark Ridley Thomas definitely has to go. So at this point, it looks like that is all of the comments, questions, concern. If you have any, just real quick before I sign off. But again, y'all, please stop coming after us. You know, whether it's us as Africatown and falling into this false narrative that we're the reason folks are not supporting us. Keep that shit 100. We're, you know, and I don't say this, you know, in no arrogant ego type of way, but we've been some of the primary fundraisers to keep this shit going to this point. And that's not saying, you know, we need to settle and be, be happy that with the support we're bringing, you know, because again, we know there's infinite amount of support, and if there were other people who said, you know, we would like to support, and if they were gonna give significant support, you know, them Africatown cats, they a little out of hand, because we know we can get out of hand. Like I said earlier, you know, we are black men in pain because of shit we've gone through in our personal experience, but because of what we also see happening to our people. You know, for us, it's not acceptable to see black men, women, and children living on the fucking sidewalks, living out their damn cars, you know, coming to us, crying, you know, asking for help for a place to stay tonight, you know, something to eat. You know, here we are, 2021, and we've had blacks in position. You know, they something I had put out a couple years ago said we got over I forgot how many, but we got like thousands of black millionaires right now. And the condition we're in, we got thousands of black professionals, thousands of black political figures, and we are at the fucking bottom again. So, you know, that is a lot of the frustration that comes out of us, but it's also the determination in us to do all we can with the time we have. And that's pretty much the core makeup of the Africatown Coalition. You know, if people were to do a profile of us and where we were in our lives before we all met up, you would see very similar people. People who lived through this whole gang environment in LA, lived through the whole dope shit, lived through the whole pimping whole shit, lived through all this different shit they try to press on black people, but just within what was in us, we saw our people a greater priority than all of that, than participating in that which was really predatorial behavior. And as we came together, just sharing, building ideas, and fortunately connecting with other entities. You know, like I was saying, working with Downtown Crenshaw to fight for the mall. The same way we're working with Downtown Crenshaw to fight for the mall, It's the same way we're working with LA Legal Assistance to fight for the African marketplace. It's the same way we're working with the Leimert Park Village vendors to fight for the African marketplace and for the black people who are vending in Africatown. We're our own entity. Nobody's to be held accountable. Just like when we go out and we fight against the police issues, we work with BLM LA, we work with the folks on Skid Row, but none of them are to be held accountable when we get into actual fights with the police, because we know that's not a lot of other people's position. Same when we're dealing with the homeless issue. There are a lot of nonprofits who claim they're dealing with the homeless, and some of them are truly doing stuff, but many others aren't doing shit. They're receiving the money. So we know when we go into City Hall and we're calling folks out and we're exposing them, a lot of nonprofits won't do that because they are in fear of losing their funding. So that is what kind of gives us more room. We don't bind ourselves to that shit. Making money, being poverty pimps is not our primary focus out of this. So, this video was actually initiated or it was inspired because of a few conversations folks have had with us suggesting that they believe more support could come where we not involved or where we not doing some of the things we do. But what we know is, just like you see in response to Hurricane Ida right now, people's going to step up and do what they're supposed to do, are going to do it regardless. They're not talking about, they're down there looting right now, this or that's happening. They see there's a need and they're responding to it. Same way that's been happening in Africatown and throughout the city in response to the homelessness. Same that is now happening throughout the city in response to the street vending, because the street vending has boomed for a lot of people in response to COVID, but for black people, as black folks have been pushed out the workplace from higher up paying jobs all the way down to the more pathetic minimum wage jobs. And when I say pathetic, that's not to diss anybody working certain jobs, but I'm saying what people are being paid at those jobs. Pretty much anybody that works should be paid a living wage, period. That's one of the cons that's been ran on black communities for the longest, that we are still stuck in the position of being renters. You got people generation after generation who rent and have nothing to show for it, have nothing that they could pull out and pass on, but steadily every damn month stressing to pay that damn bill. They grandmama had that apartment, they mama had that apartment, now here they are with their children and grandchildren stressing to keep that same damn apartment every month. That's bullshit. And that's some more intentional shit that was placed on us. But again, as a lot of folks don't take these things into consideration daily as different decisions are made, a lot of folks just don't even consider getting involved politically. These are all the things we bring to the table with us as we negotiate, as we talk to these officials, as we talk to these outside entities that come into our community and want to set up business, as we talk to corporations. One of the things we said with Juneteenth and all of that was in response to Wells Fargo being involved. It was a slap in the face for them to be allowed to come in and pay a few $1,000s, have their name thrown around when they are one of the major entities that took black homes, displaced black people. They robbed black folks' homes, and now they want to come throw a few punk ass $1,000. The first thing Wells Fargo got to do is restore people's homes. Then we can look at other shit they can do, but these are the games folks play with us. They take our lives, they take our homes, then they throw a few fucking peanuts out to the survivors and say, vote for me. Or say, come and spend your money at my store. That's bullshit, loved ones. That's overall thing that we are really trying to get our folks organized around and waking up, just like many other ancestors back in the day who didn't compromise. They weren't caught up in all these white capitalistic, materialistic illusions, but see that our people is our number one resource. Next to the planet in and of itself, our people is number one resources. I'm about to get off of this. I see there are no more question comments coming at us, but again, any of y'all to see that bullshit Black and Mild posted, it's bullshit. And again, to come on here and try to attack that sister with some straight bullshit, you know, I'll talk to her and see if she wants me to delete that comment. You know, I normally leave shit up just so people can see the overall shit that we're dealing with. But for folks who really know what all that sister been bringing to the table, that was a bullshit, suck-ass comment to leave, especially when you're hiding behind what your real name is and not breaking down what your actual attempts to join the association were or are, and how, you know, we have failed to communicate to you as we have somehow communicated to like 250 other people. You know, we got 100 active vendors and we got another 150 vendors on a waiting list. So somehow we've been able to get other folks involved. So what's happening, not happening with you, again, I believe not coming to them damn meetings. So that's it, loved ones. But that's our position on these little tactics of divide and conquer that are going right now. Talk to us. You know, we're very approachable. By the time y'all see us blow up and angry, it's usually a lot of shit that's happened that led up to that, and we usually had civil conversation prior to that point. That's an MHD MRT mode. From the mouths that it was coming from last spring, we know for sure. You know, they were making it known that they were connected to MRT. Matter of fact, Tara, you know a couple of them cats. You had some interactions with them. You know, we know some merchants who work closely with MRT was saying that shit. And again, those just happen to be some of the main merchants he supports. But, you know, this shit ain't nothing new. Divide and Conquer, the Willie Lynch shows. This goes back to slavery, but even prior to slavery, you know, this is part of how these devils got in power, y'all. But, you know, that's the beautiful thing about us being able to communicate today and interact with each other, you know, just overcome these small obstacles and move it forward. So I say that in love y'all like the runaway slaves, love y'all like the slaves that took over the slave ships. Black Power, if y'all can donate, I'm about to put up some posts. Our Cash App is $ Blackson365. That's $ BLACTION. The number's 365, Blackson365. We do need support with the market this coming Sunday. Also, we need volunteers. Saturday, we got to load all that shit up to take to the market on Sunday. I done threw my back out twice doing that shit by myself. Sunday, we need help unloading it. So again, y'all saying y'all support the market. Show that through your actions. Show it through your pockets. I have to turn it to, I ain't gonna go there with you. But y'all, thank y'all. We do appreciate y'all. We do need y'all continued support. And we gonna overcome this, y'all. It's that Black Power Hour. Now let me figure out how to sign off. All right.